Hi there, and welcome to our London Visited podcast. And this week at London Visited, we go to the Royal Docks. But before we do, I want to say a massive thank you to all our listeners across the globe. It's absolutely amazing to see where we're being listened to, and I just want to say a personal thanks. I don't take your listenership for granted. And please, if there's anything that I can do for you that you would like on this podcast, please do let us know. You know the normal way, and I will repeat it again later in the show, emails, etc, etc. And wherever you are listening around the world, please do drop us a quick tweet just to let us know. It will be great to build a little community. So, many thanks. Right, now to this week's podcast, and we're going to tell you all about the Royal Docks, which is an iconic part of London over in East London. Each week, we're going to continue to bring to you the facts, history and information about different parts of this great capital. If you've been to London, are planning on visiting, and I know so many people that are trying to get to London that want to get here on a vacation. So let's hope when the world gets straight again, you make it over here. You live here or just love London from afar, then this is definitely the podcast for you. Also, don't forget our YouTube channel, London Visited, to see videos covering so many places across London. Now, to this week's podcast. So the Royal Docks is over in East London, in the Docklands, which is part of the London Borough of Newham. The area is named after three docks: the Royal Albert Dock, the Royal Victoria Dock, and the King George V Dock. They are more correctly called the Royal Group of Docks, to distinguish them from the Royal Dockyards. Royal being due to their naming after royal personages rather than crown ownership. The three docks collectively form the largest enclosed docks in the world, with a water area of nearly 250 acres, which is 1 kilometre square, and an overall estate of 1,100 acres. This is the equivalent to the whole of central London, from Hyde Park to Tower Bridge. The area was designated a Special Enterprise Zone in 2012, and North Woolwich is part of the Royal Docks Ward. The three docks were completed between 1855 and 1921 on the riverside marshes in East Ham and West Ham, now in the London Borough of Newham. The Victoria and Albert Docks were constructed by the London and St Catherine Docks Company to provide berths for large vessels that could not be accommodated further upriver. They were a great commercial success, becoming London's principal docks during the first half of the 20th century. They specialised particularly in the import and unloading of foodstuffs, with rows of giant granaries and refrigerated warehouses being sited alongside the quays. The docks' great size and provision of numerous finger quays gave them a collective span of over 12 miles, nearly 20 kilometres of quaysides, serving hundreds of cargo and passenger ships at a time. Following the opening of the Royal Albert Dock in 1880, giving royals access to Galleon's Reach, 11 miles below London Bridge, the rival East and West India Docks Company responded with the construction of Tilbury Docks, even further down the river. The ruinous competition led eventually to all the enclosed docks being taken over by the Port of London Authority in 1909. The Port of London Authority, the PLA, completed the King George V Dock in 1921 and reserved land to the north for a fourth dock, which was never built. The general strike of 1926 hit the Royal Docks hard, with 750,000 frozen carcasses threatened by docks' electrical supply being cut off. The Royal Navy saved the day for the dock owners by connecting the generators of two submarines to power the warehouse's freezers. Although the Royal Docks suffered severe damage from German bombing in World War II, they recovered after the war but suffered a steady decline from the 1960s onwards, following the adoption of containerisation. Nonetheless, they survived longer than any of the other upstream docks, finally closing to commercial traffic only back in 1981. The dock's closure led to high levels of unemployment and social deprivation in the surrounding communities of North Woolwich and Silvertown. Because of their relative remoteness from central London and poor transport links, the redevelopment of London's docklands has proceeded more slowly in the Royals than in other former docks. The London Docklands Development Corporation undertook much work during the 1980s and 90s to improve local transportation and promote new residential and commercial developments in the area. Thousands of new homes were built at Beckton, just north of the Royal Docks. An extension of the Docklands Light Railway, the DLR, opened in 1994 to provide direct links to the City of London and Canary Wharf. This was later extended round the south side of the docks, with a link to London City Airport opening in December 2005. The line was later extended to Woolwich. Crossrail will serve the area from 2021-2022, when it eventually opens. And that's a different story. Several other major projects have been proposed or implemented since then. Many residential complexes have been built, most notably the architectural progressive Eastern Quay on the south side of the Royal Victoria Dock, Capital East on the north side of the dock, and the large complex of galleons reaching the extreme east of the Royal Docks. A series of major developments have seen the construction of a new university campus for the University of East London and the ExCeL Exhibition Centre, among much else. The ExCeL Exhibition Centre is currently highly in the news, as this has been made into London's Nightingale Hospital, and also another major venue as a vaccination site against COVID, which was one of the first emergency hospitals to be opened. The Royal Docks have also seen the development of London City Airport, opened in 1988 on the quay between the Royal Albert Dock and the King George V Dock. While the docks themselves have been preserved largely intact, little remains of the old infrastructure, although some historic warehouses and cranes have been preserved. In 2011, 125 hectares of the Royal Docks were granted Enterprise Zone status to help attract jobs and businesses to the area. In 2014, Singapore-listed Oxley Holdings, together with leading developer Ballymore UK, have a joint venture set up to a new waterfront town of the Royal Wharf, with 3,385 new homes housing over 10,000 people. This will be a mixed-use development comprising of shops, restaurants and even office complexes. The final phase is known as Mariners Quarter, which has the tallest building standing at 19 stories, overseeing the River Thames and Canary Wharf. Aside from local buses, the area is primarily served by the Docklands Light Railway, which goes from Canning Town, services to Canary Wharf and central London, and the north to Stratford, along the north of the dock to Beckton, and along the south to North Woolwich, and under the Thames to Woolwich Arsenal. Transport for London planned to extend the Beckton line to Dagenham, but this is dependent on funding. The DLR replaced the North London line services that previously served the area from Canning Town to North Woolwich via Custom House and the 600-metre Connaught Tunnel beneath the docks. From 2021, a branch of the Crossrail line will pass beneath the Royal Docks between Canning Town and Woolwich, serving Custom House Station, and future provision for a station at Silvertown. Crossrail reuses the southern part of the former North London line, alignment from Custom House to North Woolwich, including the tunnel, which was built in 1878. It is worth noting that the timescale for opening on the Crossrail line has been put back, so we wait and see when it actually opens. There's also been a need for further river crossing in the area. A long-standing proposal has been a 4-lane tolled bridge, providing a road link between Beckton and Thamesmead on the south bank. The Thames Gateway Bridge. A public inquiry onto the bridge closed in May 2006, it being particularly contentious in the residential neighbourhoods between Plumstead and the Danson Interchange, which is a junction on the A2. The plans were shelved, along with the DLR Dagenham extension by Boris Johnson when he came to power in London in 2008. However, in the run-up to the 2012 election, Mayor Johnson, as he was then, started to push for a crossing at Silvertown. The Royal Docks is also home to London City Airport, between the northern and southern docks. It was opened in 1988 to serve the Canary Wharf development. It is closer to central London than Heathrow and is served by a dedicated DLR station. In 2010, London City was the 5th busiest airport in terms of passengers and aircraft movements serving the London area. Although the docks are now closed for commercial shipping, most of the water area of the docks still exists and is still navigable by craft of all sizes up to and including sizable ships. The dock's principal use is now water sports, but they do see occasional visits by naval and merchant vessels, especially during the annual London Boat Show and the biannual DSEI Arms Fair, both of which are held at the ExCeL Exhibition Centre. Cruise ships including Fred Olsen lines were moored there during the London 2012 Olympics. The management of the water areas of the Royal Docks, including the locks and bridges, is now the responsibility of the Royal Docks Management Limited, which is owned and funded by the owners of the surrounding development land. So, I hope you've enjoyed our look at the Royal Docks, which once were so busy with ships going through and have now been developed so much. Whatever podcast service you use to listen to this, please don't forget to subscribe to get updates on new shows, and also do leave us some feedback. As I said earlier, if there's any places you'd like us to feature in future podcasts, you can let me know. You can let us know through our website, www.londonvisited.co.uk. You can email me directly on londonvisited@gmail.com. Or you can contact us on Twitter and Instagram @LondonVisited. Or there's Facebook on @TheLondonVisited. Once again, thanks so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. And we really hope you enjoy this podcast. And we'll see you very soon on the next one. Cheers. Bye.